saw a whole nother vision for where things would be. And I was really getting out nationally and putting the representation in place, because that was really the problem that we were lacking initially, man. I know that when I first started going to the conferences,
going to like Power Summit and all that.
They were basically saying that Vegas didn't always have much representation.
There wasn't no rep out here.
A lot of people weren't coming from Vegas to represent what Vegas stood for.
We have return of the Mack, DJ Rory Mack. The streets of Vegas.
All right, welcome to another episode of The Streets of Vegas, episode 110. We are broadcasting live from Vegas Hype Media Network, Las Vegas's premier podcast and recording studio. We got Quan on the boards, and today we got my man. I call this episode Return of the Mack. That's DJ Rory Mack, man. He's back for a part 2 of our conversation. I talk about the journey. First, we covered his history coming from Chicago to Vegas, him as a DJ and whatnot. And I knew it was going to take 2 parts just because he has such an extensive career. He's started out in Vegas in '84 with the Super Mix 60 show. He's a pioneer on various guest DJ spots and holding it down for KUNV, KLUC 98.5, and currently KCEP 88.1. He's just a staple in the Vegas scene as far as anything goes with promotions, industry ties, anything related to anything that moves in Vegas. He has his hand in it or has something to do with it. So we just want to welcome back, man, my boy Rory Mack, my man Rory Mack, DJ Rory Mack. Man, how you doing, my brother?
What's going on, brother? Hey, I had to take just that whole situation back to the foundation, and Power 88 was the foundation, man. Shout out Benzo, shout out Craig, Smooth C, man, hey, we all go back to day one, man, and it's just really a family over there.
That's where it started at, right?
Oh, yeah. That was pretty much my first spot, man, when I first got out here. Shout out to Regina D, for giving me a first look. I was doing Morning Drive with her.
Okay.
And, we killed the game, changed the game.
Changed the game, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I was there, and then in full circle, and came back now, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You'll be on tonight, right?
I'm on tonight, 10 o'clock to 2 a.m., as usual, man. We call it the Saturday Night House Party, for all you house music people all over the world, because we definitely got a global look and everything is cool, man.
Yeah, bringing that shy flavor to the Vegas, man, and you consistent with it, man.
Oh yeah,
y'all been locking down every Saturday. I see the shows, I get the reposts. Yeah. So man, you've been consistent.
Well,
with
it's just a continuation, because I actually started that back in 1984. When I first came out here, man. Realistically, house music in origin is nothing but soul and classics with tempo.
Okay.
So, we were playing a lot of the Philadelphia International, and, a lot of those records that our mom and our dad was kind of vibing on, and basically just put it in our own perspective context. We started doing edits and basically chopping it up, man, going to the breakdowns and, just
extending
really,
the breaks.
Making it fly, I kind of considered myself the cool Herc of Chicago, because I was really like the first one to really incorporate the breaks, really put emphasis on the breaks, man, where, everybody at the time was just basically playing the record from top to, maybe the physical break and then transitioning out. A lot of times, man, I would go to the break and, maybe put some emphasis on that, a certain different section, go back to the top or whatever, man. It wasn't too many times that I even played a record the same way twice.
But you would like recreate the record, restructure the record, maybe.
Yeah. I can definitely say that, like nowadays with the toys that we have, Serato, a lot of different things, and you can do a lot of creative situations and things on the fly, you know, remix wise. But back in the day, back in the day, it was just all skills and ingenuity, bro. And man, I used to work them turntables like I was in the gym, man.
Yeah, you had to be nice back in the day. You couldn't push no button and match the tempo, sync the beat. None of that, man. You had to be nice, man.
And the crazy thing too, especially with the original disco records, man. You know, this is pre-computer.
Okay.
So all the stuff was pretty much organic with the drummers and things. And a lot of times when they starting out the sessions, you know, everybody kind of got a rhythm, and obviously the drum is pretty much the foundation for the whole track. But then as they get, you know, they really get into the soul of the song, man. You know, if you really tracking the tempos, man, they probably then changed about maybe 10 counts on the record, you know. So maybe if the original BPM was, say, maybe 118, 119, by the time they get the feeling in the middle of the song, it might be 125, 126.
Like that? Yeah. That's what I like about those records. The energy is high. It's always 118, 120 and above. Like it's always
but
good
the
energy.
thing is, back in the day, man, if you were really a good DJ, you had to master the intros, you had to master the breaks. Whereas nowadays, of course, usually with the computers, because everything is just, you know, totally on the level, computerized, synchronized drums and everything else. Everything is just like this.
Flatline.
Exactly. But you
it's
know,
almost too perfect now.
But you know, back in the day, that's why, like, even with a lot of different features that you can use with Serato, with you know, your beat grids and all that other stuff. Man, I don't even use that stuff because I use no, bro, because you know, I still like the challenges of really being able to approach those records the way that I used to. But it's cool to have the new tools, you know, because man, I'm definitely ill on the loops and you know, the cue points and all that other stuff. But man, it just ain't nothing like you know, just being able to grab that record and feel it the way I used to feel it when I would pick up that piece of vinyl and put it, you know, put it on the turntable.
It's good to have beef from both eras, though, really, Hunt, to really embrace it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, really
yes, sir. And then especially too with the production as well, man, because you know, I go back to Splice and Tape.
Splice, I know,
Razor Braid and China Markles and all that. You remember, because when we was working on your tracks back in the day, man, I still got the Atari MX 5050, bro. It's still crispy.
Classic, man.
Still crispy,
classic,
brother.
Man.
Yes, sir.
And speaking about that, going back, man, let me give y'all the backstory in case y'all don't know. And I would be remiss if I don't mention these two guys, man, because they pivotal in how I met you and everything. That's Terry Bills, my boy Terry Bills. We started out a group together, and then his cousin DeMarlo Bills. That we later on went and did promotions with you. So Terry Bills, when I came to town, when I moved out here maybe 91, 92, we kind of got together, linked up, and was kind of putting a little group together, whatnot. And so he was like, hey, man, you know, we're going to go to this guy's house. We're going to record it. I'm like, man, this dude got a studio in his crib like that? He was like, yeah. So we went over there, man. I was blown away, bro. I'm telling you, this is early 90s. I'm like, this dude is legit up in his crib, man.
Yeah, bro.
And that was this record right here, man. It says, I don't know if y'all can see this, but this was
up on the grip.
a single, and it still has produced additional mixes. Rory, Madness, McAlister.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? This is 1994.
Is here, brother.
Yeah, 1994. We was on Power Set Recordings. But recorded right at the crib. Shipped off to where they can press it up. Man.
Mastered and pressed.
Mastered and pressed. For now, it gave us a real good look coming out the gate. And I'm like, man, this dude is legit, man. Like, how you know this dude, man? Bro. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, man, you know, all of my incentives and my chops really came from, you know, my dad's foundation with Chess Records, man, because I was around, you know, them when they were like really in the cooking phase, man. So, you know, between me being alongside the engineers and all of that, while dad and the musicians, you know, they in the other room, man, they jamming and doing what they doing, you know, be creative, man. I used to sit right there on the side alongside the engineer. So, you know, all the knobs and all the little things that they were doing to just create the magic, man. It was like, it was just so fascinating.
You had a natural kind of like feel for it, like for it, kind of like,
Well, it was always around me, man. Like I said, because, you know, dad being the creative person that he was, man, you know, we had equipment in the house, you know, tape recorders and microphones and different things like that. So a lot of times when he was writing, you know, he man, he might hum out a melody on tape or something like that, man, take it down to the studio and translating it to the music, you know, the musicians and things like that. Next thing you know, man, they done created magic. Man.
Yeah.
So, you know, between all of that and there, and then, you know, mom just being a homemaker, she always had music on the box, man, just doing her household chores and stuff. So, man, music was just always around.
You got
me,
it from both ends, man. Then,
man. I give mom the credit for you know, my DJ inspiration, because again, man, like I said, if it wasn't for her and, you know, basically coordinating a lot of the get-togethers with the family and having house parties, we called house parties, and realistically, if you know the term house music, my interpretation of what house music is was always family. Like if you go back to the origins, even in New York, man, with a lot of the loft parties, Dave Mancuso, his loft where he actually used to host the parties was actually where he lived.
Where he lived at.
And basically what he was doing was hosting rent parties, because that was a way for him to keep
get his money,
keep the bills paid, man. So, you know, he would host the parties in the house, you know, with just friends and family and just different people, and word got around. And obviously it wasn't just a, you know, come off the street type of thing. You had to know somebody to actually get access to it, because eventually they started doing memberships and differences. So it got to be super exclusive. Yeah.
Well, that's where they would bring their speakers out. I mean, like, the real house party.
So the term house to me, that's a term of endearment, because that's the source and the origin of how that vibe felt. It felt like, you know, people that you were in the house with, family, love, man, that kind of thing.
And the music coincided with all
brother.
that.
You had the food, you had the refreshments. You know, people were happy, man. They were getting their drinks. You know how we should do it at the house, man. You know, folks, family be playing cards. You know, they
chilling,
you know, just chilling, shooting the breeze, dominoes or whatever they were doing. I know dominoes were big on the West Coast, man. We didn't do a whole lot of that in Chicago.
That was more the cards.
We was down with the cards. But I know when I came out here, everybody was talking about slapping bones and all that.
He's like, what is that about?
No, I knew what it was. I knew what it was, but I wasn't into it like that.
Yeah. That's crazy. And you produced one of I remember one of the first cats you produced out in Vegas. Was it Hard Rock Wiz?
Hard Rock Wiz. He was the first one. And again, his connection to me was through his mom, man. Her name was Kathy. What's up, Kathy? If you do get a chance to see this, man, because you know, she was friends of mine through some mutual friends in the Air Force, and we got to know each other. But at the same time, I didn't even realize that she had a son that old, man, because she was very youthful, you know. But this dude,
was like a teenager,
this dude was a sophomore at Rancho High School even at the time, and he happened to pop up on us at a few of our high school parties, man. And you know, he was just really determined to get my attention. So he's like, man, you know my mom, and you know. One thing led to another. We had a conversation. Dude ended up freestyling for me, and he had a great look. So I was like, man, you know, you definitely got a little something for the ladies, and he had a little flavor. And the brain, you know, the wheels were kind of rolling in my head a little bit. So, you know, I decided to put a little money behind him, and you know, we dropped his first jam, man.
I remember
that.
I remember I went back and got it. You know, after we did this, I'm like, man, he was legit. Like the look you gave him was a legit look,
and it was crazy. Ready. Well, I just really wish in hindsight that he could have, you know, really took the time to truly listen to me, man, because all I was telling him, hey, look, man, it ain't no rush to do this thing. You know, it's like, hey, let's take the time and strategize this thing right.
Do it right.
And it was my money, man. You know, at the same time, I was like, hey, man, I really want to strategically position this thing the right way to make sure that I can get the best value for the money that I invested. But, you know, man, he was just so excited because he had a record out.
Yeah, just to have it out.
It was just really hard for me to just, you know, keep that guy focused, man. So at that time, I just said, you know what, man, I just need to chalk my losses. So, man, you know, I pulled the faders down, gave him a hug, and boom, we kept it moving, bro.
Yeah.
You know, obviously. So
that's wild.
Yes,
man.
sir. But you know, hey, still love for that brother, man. You know, and it's crazy too because this year marks the 35th anniversary of that record.
Dang, it's been that long.
Yeah, and to the crazy thing is that realistically, you know, I never formally released the record other than doing some local consignment and service and record pools, you know, throughout my networks and things. But organically, man, out of the original 500 copies I pressed, man, they made their way around the world.
Really?
And I've gotten
500?
I did 500 initially. Wow. And you know, it's made its way around the world, and you know, I get calls and inquiries all the time through Discogs and all kinds of things, even about you know, just my whole concept and approach with the record. You know, it actually became like a underground cult go-go classic in DC because, well, just in DC, obviously, it had a swing feel to it, man, and found out that DC ended up grabbing the thing, which I was really unaware of.
That's crazy to take off in another market that you wasn't even expecting.
Yeah, so, you know, just to even get that, and if you're familiar with Who Sampled, you know, the website, because I did some turntable cuts, you know, using Queen, We Will Rock You, and somewhere along the lines, they got access to that, and you know, because the record did what it did, you know, man, they ended up dropping that situation. So it's a whole lot of interpretations out there, and people pretty much basically broke down the whole DNA of my project.
It's crazy how stuff would take off like that.
It's crazy, man. Technology.
Yeah. Speaking of technology, man, and modern times, what you think about the new AI technology where they replacing people's voices and all that stuff, man? What do you think they going with that, man?
I think it's revolutionary, it's groundbreaking, but man, come on, you know,
it's another way to rob the artist, man.
You justify this whole underworld and you know, this black market situation, man. I see the pirates, you know, really getting out of hand with that thing. And you already are hearing, you know, a lot of things about people misusing that whole situation, and it's real. It's early right now, so just think that you know, when it really grows and evolves. So I'm sure that it's going to get to a point almost like how sampling was and is. You know, they're gonna create regulations and you know, restrictions and a lot too. They're gonna have to because I feel like this AI thing is probably the biggest beast since the computer, bro.
And it's this infancy right now.
Right.
We just now, and I know you a tech guy, so you kind of see all that coming down down the line, man.
Yeah, but as far as us being creative, man, to physically take a song that just think that a lot of those original songs that you didn't have the master session files for, say even the stem, now you can make your own stems through AI. You know, AI allows you to physically break down the components of the song where you might be able to get this drum part or the vocal part and physically extract it from the song. So sampling now is just completely endless.
It really is. I know even Kanye released some of his records on the stem player.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
exactly,
it's getting out of hand, man.
Yes, sir.
I seen too on your Facebook post, man. R.I.P. to Tina Turner, man. How'd you feel about that, man? Tina did her thing, man.
Oh man, Tina. Well, and even the whole chess connection too, man. Because
they started on chess, didn't they?
It said, well, Ike Turner did, you know, when he first started out, man, and if you kind of look it up, there was a song called Rocket 88. I think it was 1951 or 52. I don't think Ike got the full credit for it, but he was actually the artist that actually cut that record. And that record actually went down as the first rock and roll / blues record. You know, so Ike Turner basically takes that credit for it, and obviously his evolution with Tina. You know, Tina got inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. You know, one with Ike and Tina, and then as a solo artist. You know,
she deserved both of them too.
Oh my God, man. And then there was another connection too. And if you see me wearing this Def Jam T-shirt, man, 1999, I was on assignment over in Europe, in London, for the Mobile Awards with Def Jam, and we stayed in a little township over there called Maida Vale. Coincidentally, Tina Turner stayed in the same hotel we did, man, and I was just in such awe that, you know, we were that close to her, man. You know, because she
at
obviously
that particular time.
she actually participated in the awards. I think she did a presentation or something, you know, giving awards out to artists, sort of like what they do with the Grammys. Because the Mobo is London's version of, say, the Grammys. You know?
I didn't know that.
Man, we went over there real big and just smashed the game, man. From we chartered a double-decker bus. You know how we used to do the street team stuff with the poster snipes and all that?
Yeah.
Man, you know, London's UK street team over in Brixton, you know, we went over there.
Of Brixton.
We went over there and trained them, man. So basically, when it was all said and done, they were vigilantes, man. Just killing London, man.
Got some of that game.
And all those snipes that we end up doing was like right across the street from Buckingham Palace, man.
Right
so
there?
Exactly, man.
That was
Prince Albert Hall, man. Y'all look that up, but that's actually the venue where the award ceremony was held, and it's right across the street from Buckingham Palace, man.
That's huge, man.
So you know, we took London to the hood, man. It was crazy, and you know, on Facebook, you know, I got an album that's dedicated to that. So if anybody's friends of mine to follow me on Facebook, man, you can go to you know, my albums, and you can probably end up looking up Mobo 1999, and you'll see those pictures. Yeah, you see a lot of the pictures over there, man. We were killing retail radio. You'll see some pictures of me and Jay-Z.
Your archive game is crazy, man.
It was like,
you know what I realized,
crazy,
man? Like that was before cell phones.
Yeah.
So I remember when we was on the strip, you had like the point and shoot joints.
Well, you remember, like even us, man. Like when we were first doing street snipes, man, we were actually doing it with an organic camera. And we used to have to actually take the film out of the camera and get the film developed and send it to corporate. You know, back in the day, because I remember when the digital technology first came out, I told you know, corporates at Def Jam and even a lot of the other accounts that I was working, I said, hey, man, this digital camera stuff is definitely going to make it easier for us, particularly when it comes down to developing the film. And the greatest thing was we could preview the pictures before we actually did it, because most of the time it was like hit or miss when we were out there taking the pictures, because, you know,
was dark. I remember you said, man, get good pictures.
I
get them, take them to Walgreens the next day. I'm like, man, it's only like 8 of them I can use, man.
Half of that stuff was trash, man. But that was the thing.
Like,
so and again, man, I was pretty photo savvy at that time, man. Going back to high school and even grade school. You know, I took photography in grade school and in high school. I was layout editor of my school newspaper, man. So I was up on like all of that stuff, man. So and it still helps me to this day, even with the digital stuff.
Yeah, it does. It does. And that's what we're talking about today. This is the industry promotion story right here, how we got to this. So how did it start? How did you start securing accounts, making these connections? And I mean, you was already doing your thing, so it was already a light on you here. Yeah. So how did you formulate that, man?
Well,
like,
it really started with the whole relationship game. Number one, you know, for me to be pretty much the premier DJ locally here in Vegas and you know, becoming a trade reporter for a lot of the magazines at the time, you know, early talking about Dance Music Report, which we were talking about that in the first episode. Then, you know, there became other trade magazines that became real popular, like Hits Magazine, Hit Makers Magazine.
There's a lot of them back then.
I was a reporting member for all of them, you know, as a mix show DJ, because they actually had organized the National Coalition of Mix Show DJs. And I was one of them, as well as us having a national record pool network. We called ourselves the Urban Coalition. And it was probably a team of maybe
so that was around the country?
This was national. I was the Vegas representative, but it was probably about 7 or 8 key markets, from Chicago to Los Angeles to New York to DC, you know, the DMV area.
Major markets.
So, you know, basically we spotlighted, you know, what was going on in our region, but we were pretty much the voice of the industry with regard to what we were doing. So what it basically happened, and if you remember the tip sheet that we used to do with the record systems bi-weekly, remember I used to call them the Systematic 50.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so we used to do the top 50. We used to do the top 50 urban, and then I used to do the top 50 dance stuff too, because at that time the dance stuff was really transitioning. You know, it was really you know, making some commercial rounds. So I wanted to make sure that the dance music definitely got the attention that it deserved, because realistically, the dance music, believe it or not, was more predominant in the mainstream clubs here in Vegas. In Vegas, you know, when you talk about, you know, on the strip with the tourists and all that other stuff too, even though we had our underground culture with the R&B and the hip hop.
but the dance was more predominant.
To the tourists, the top 40 in the dance was more predominant. So, you know, of course, I didn't discriminate when it came down to that, man, because realistically, us as DJs, as a community, I wanted to make sure that if you were a member of Record Systems, man, I wanted you to basically get everything you needed when you came in on Tuesday and Saturday to pick up your records versus you having to spend more money in the record store.
Right.
You know, and that was
let me
my
pause
goal.
right here. Shout out to all the Record Systems alumni, man, because
man.
if it's such thing as a godfather of DJs, it would be you, bro. I mean, because you made sure everybody came through and got what they needed, man. From the Big D's, from the 14K DJ Keith. Shout out DJ Keith. I mean, like so many people. D-Money, Michael Toast, so many cats came through that fraternity, man.
Dwayne
I just want to,
man, so many
just want to applaud you, man, for
started
with
with
the source.
Started with DJ Frankie, man. You know, like I said,
Frankie?
You know, Frankie, obviously between him and George Luster. George Luster with Las Vegas Record Service. Then Frankie branched off from Las Vegas Record Service and formulated Las Vegas Record Systems. That got acquired by Phil Riccardi. And then I came in basically being Phil's right hand. And then I ended up assuming and acquiring ownership of Record Systems back in 1990. And then from there, you know, that's when I took it to a whole nother level, man, because I always felt, you know, Phil had his own system and way of doing things, much love and respect, but I saw a whole nother vision for where things would be. And, you know, I was really getting out nationally and you know, putting the representation in place, because that was really the problem that we were lacking initially, man. I know that when I first started going to the conferences,
going to like Power Summit and all that.
They were basically saying that Vegas didn't always have much representation.
There wasn't no rep out here.
A lot of people weren't coming from Vegas to represent what Vegas stood for. And it was always a situation where people on the phone begging for records and music, but how could they even validate it when we didn't even have a voice at the time? So for the most part, I became that voice. And it was really more about me taking, you know, my Chicago roots and solidifying that to people. It's like, okay, you know, Vegas might have a blemish now, but let's get one thing straight, man. I'm Chi-Town in origin.
Chi-Town,
So let's take that situation back to Chicago and, you know, not so much give us a black eye and justify that I'm here to, you know, make what necessarily, you know, right to make it right. So let's do that. So again, man, you know, I showed and proved and really connected the dots in the market. And once I started doing that, it first started from and shout out to Troy Shelton, man. Interscope, he was initially Interscope Records and eventually Death Row when Suge came on board to start Death Row.
Early 90s and stuff was hot, man.
And all that situation because Troy Shelton actually gave me my first check to place an ad on our Record Systems bi-weekly. He turned around, he said, man, I love your publication, bro. I see you got that blank space, man. I want to buy that. And I was like, you want to buy it?
That was real estate right there.
So, because obviously he knew that I had, you know, my stuff went out nationally to, you know, all the industry reps and things like that. And he wanted to make sure that he had visibility, you know, for his primary, you know, artists and his priorities within our charts. So I was like, okay, cool. And that's when the light bulb.
This was like a printed publication?
Well, you remember that was our Record Systems. That was our Record Systems.
Yeah, I remember now. I got
the same chart that I made y'all do feedback with every week. I translated that into a bi-weekly tip sheet that actually got mailed out to the record industry every 2 weeks.
And he bought a space.
He bought the first space. And this was at the time, this was when I want to say Tupac and Brenda Got a Baby was out. Era, it was around that
92,
time.
93.
Yeah, it was right up there, right around that time, man. He ended up taking an ad. And when I got that first check, that's when the light bulb came on. I was like, man, I could really do something with this. So I actually I set up a template and I actually sent it to the labels and put prices on different, you know, position placements within the chart.
Depending on where it was at.
Right.
That was smart.
And that's how it happened. And then next thing you know, when the budgets actually opened up for street teams and street marketing, they came to me and said, well, hey, man, you know, we want to basically give you a budget to extend your reach to the marketplace just based on what you're doing. You know, send you allocations of posters and promotional items and things like that, and you can get around and lace our stores and connect
crazy,
with the DJs and people that may not be directly connected with your pool, and that might even give you a little bit more incentive for other people to be on board with you based on them seeing you being really, really official. And that's how it happened. So it became a situation. They justified me being super savvy with everything, and they went from not only us handling the accounts like that, man, but I was doing itineraries for the artists. So
when they come to town.
So when you seen them in town, a lot of times, man, I was right there with the regionals or the nationals, coordinating the actual schedules for the artists when they came to town.
That was big.
So it's like, man,
you was the liaison, really.
Exactly. Meet so and so, and obviously you see where we are with this Eryka Badu promotion, man. Shout out to Eryka
shout out to Eryka,
for coming back and pretty much bringing the band back together, man. Because with this whole concept that she's doing, with this Unfollow Me tour, she's basically taking it back to
like the roots,
to the origin, man.
How did that speak on that? How did that happen, man? How did that whole Eryka Badu situation happen?
Okay, again, like I said, man, obviously powers that be that sat down and said, okay, you obviously have always been in popular demand, and we feel like it's time for you to come back out here and
it
make
made sense now
and make this grand statement. So. It was basically said that she wanted to, put that situation in place like it used to be, how we used to do back in the day, man, with just really having the soldiers out really connecting to the people.
On the ground.
Because obviously social media came around, and social media is a great tool, but the only thing that social media did was kind of took that direct connection away, where how we used to go to, the lifestyle shops and be able to engage with the people, man, go in and make them aware of things. And even for me to get back around and, get in the neighborhood and go to the beauty salons.
We talked last week, ain't nothing like putting something in somebody's hand.
Oh, man, the ladies love it so much, man. Every time I go around and, just for me to say, hey, I wanted to come by, by way of Eryka Badu and give y'all a little something special,
big.
And they like, oh, man, I'm definitely doing it. I even got one of the beauty shops, doing a $10 off, man.
Especially for the ladies, like for what Eryka Badu represents, that whole neo-soul vibe, that whole genre, her brand, it makes so much sense right now.
Yeah.
Can we cut to this? We got a promo for Eryka Badu. We're going to cut to it. We got coming June 16th.
June 16th.
With Yasin Bey. Some of y'all know him as Most Def. But we're going to run the promo right here.
Summer concert experience of a lifetime. My name is Eryka Badu. With the Grammy Award-winning Eryka Badu. Eryka Badu like you've never seen her before. The music, the vibe of Eryka Badu. With special guest Yasin Bey. The Unfollow Me tour with Eryka Badu. June 16th at Michelob Ultra Arena. Tickets on sale now at AXS.com.
Yeah, that's gonna be huge. Even the name was dope. When I seen Unfollow Me, I'm like, that is so crazy. That's so her, man. I like that. That is crazy, man. That is crazy.
Oh,
so big shout out to that, man. It's like it makes sense that you would be involved with something like this, bro. Just like from what you've always been doing. And when I seen you connected to it, I'm like, it's obvious.
Well, the original powers that be that obviously evolved the whole street team game and the field marketing and things. Hey man, shout out to my boy Rob Love. Obviously with me having the Def Jam shirt on, me and that dude went around the world and back again. A couple of times, man, and he was instrumental in that whole situation and
still in
bringing things on board.
Still in the game, huh?
Yeah, still in the game, still holding it down. I'm like, man, I feel like he probably got a little bit more energy than me. He actually in town at time, and every time I look around, he called me, man, what we doing? What we doing? I'm like, man, you killing me, man.
Hey,
but it's
you
all
had that
love
energy,
like
man, because there was a lot of us cats that was younger than you, and you was outrunning us, man.
Hey, well, we just had to get it done, man.
It was like getting it done, man.
But realistically, hey, man, we were out in the streets, and it was almost like we had the classroom in the streets, man. And you guys were right alongside me while we were growing and building, man. So I appreciate you guys being there, man, because obviously it takes a nation, man.
It does. And
you know?
shout out to the anybody that represented the street teams, the record system back in the day. Hey, we did our thing, man. One of my fondest memories, man, and speaking of Def Jam, is when we was at I think we was at a Magic show doing something.
Right.
And I don't know what they was doing. They was playing a Def Jam set, but like you had me, like Russell Simmons was right here,
right,
and I was right next to him,
yeah.
And we was eating something or something. I'm like, man, this is like you can't put a price on this, man. Just being in the proximity of cat. And I never was on no groupie stuff like that, but just doing the work, man, and being in the room and being connected to the Russell Simmons, the Kevin Blacks, and like all those cats, man. It was just, man, it was a you know, a hell of an experience, man.
Shout out to Daryl Brooks too, man, because Daryl was really instrumental. He's like Eryka's right hand, man.
Is that right?
Yeah, we on conference calls religiously on Wednesday doing Zoom, and that's all we doing, man. We just in the think tank figuring out different ways to be creative, to touch the people, man. And obviously it's working, man. So
it is.
You know, shout out to Daryl, shout out to Rob, you know, shout out to the whole national team, man, and you know, just thankful, man. Just blessed,
man. Speaking of being creative, man, what do you say about? So of course we talked about how social media has came in. How do you feel about that whole? Because that ushered in a whole new marketing campaign. How do you feel about like pre-social media and you know before social media and the current state of it? How do you think it, you know, fits with records being promoted and stuff like that nowadays?
Well, I feel like the foundation, or at least the essence of how we even communicate our information via social media is the same way that we realistically did it mouth to mouth and hand to hand. It's just that we have another cool,
tools.
Creative, unique tool to do it, you know, and I'm just saying it's just great that, you know, we do have that out at our disposal because we can obviously reach more people, make more impressions.
Yes.
But
yes.
with this situation, to be able to physically get in a marketplace and you know, touch a person, man, and really just put something in their hand and really personalize that thing.
Right.
You know, that's the difference, man.
It's like, you know, I liken it to, my wife always says, it's the difference between mass texting people and individually texting people.
Well, just think, man.
Will go a lot further.
Well, just think about it. How many, especially today's generation, man, how many people like really take the time to pick up the phone to talk to someone versus just, you know, being caught in the text matrix?
I can't stand that, man.
Saying?
You know, Busta Rhymes said that. He said a lot of people takes the text out of context.
Right.
You can't gauge the tone.
Right.
The how they saying it, how they really. I can't stand it, man. Like,
I mean,
get on the phone and call me,
man. Yeah, man. You trying to utilize an emoji to
like get on the phone
to compensate
me,
for how you feel,
and,
man. And a lot of times, or say for instance, if you send a text over and it's in capital letters, they thinking that you mad at them or something.
Right. Yeah, right, man. I think like it takes, you know, it takes like the new school and the old school approach because you get it from both ends. You get the grassroots stuff, and then the social media stuff can amplify what would, like you say, reach what we couldn't reach. And I see too, man. You got your IG popping now, man.
Right. Yeah. Well, I really did that for Eryka, man, because I just said, well, hey, I know that 9 times out of 10, man, it'll just be an extension of what I'm already doing. Yeah. And I'm pretty much topped off at Facebook anyway.
That's where a majority of your base
that's
is,
where most of my traffic has been. Bro, I'm grown, bro.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? So between all that, it's cool, and obviously I'm savvy with it. I stay up on the technology and everything, man. Probably more so than most.
Yeah, and I know you always been a savvy cat, man.
So
always,
between all of that, it's cool, man, and you know, like I said, I done had a whole bunch of my colleagues, man, you know, been poking me in the side like, hey, man, you can sync that thing. All you got to do is just generate it from Instagram, and you can post simultaneously on Facebook and
we know
IG.
Facebook owns Instagram.
I know,
so
that's Meta.
Yeah,
so it's all making sense now. You know, it still gets a little delicate at the end of the day. In fact, when I first, you know, really got on it, before I really put the information out in the public that I did have an IG account, you know, I was really kicking the tires on the back end, and Meta actually, man, they put me in jail for about a week, man. Yeah.
Wow.
Because they thought I was a bot or something, bro.
Oh, okay.
You know, because I was beating on that mug.
So they couldn't tell, really.
They couldn't really tell. So, you know, they went through like about 3 or 4 tiers, man. I actually had to handwrite.
Authenticating.
I had to handwrite my name on a blank sheet of paper. I had to put my IG address on there.
What?
Then they made me hold the picture up and take a selfie and send them a selfie.
Are you serious?
Yeah, bro. And then
they really want to make sure.
Yeah. So, you know, just all that stuff. And they sent me access codes. You know, like they just
Stuff
wanted to make sure, like
phone, they got to make sure.
So it was bananas, man.
It's like, man, okay, now this is too much. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no,
but
I
guess
appreciate
for security, they got it.
I really appreciate it. And just like we started off talking about AI, bro.
Yeah, because people are getting hacked now, and you know what I mean?
Man.
Like,
and it's starting to get to a point now to where even with that situation, they're becoming liable.
Right,
so they're protecting their own interests to make sure that somebody don't come back and try to make them liable for you know some kind of loose policy that they might have had.
That could be a class action lawsuit.
Exactly,
right,
bro.
You know,
right. So I'm not mad at them, man. You know, obviously I wasn't doing nothing but telling the truth. So
that's true.
You know, long as you keep it truthful, bro, you'll always be good. You know, when you ducking and dodging, that's when you got to worry. And I don't do that, man.
What are some of your biggest highlight moments from just being in the promotion game, man? I mean, like I said, I love the Def Jam stuff. I was such a fan of Def Jam, and when I got to work with him, I was just like, this is like a blessing, man. What were some of your standout moments, man?
Definitely the Mobile Awards in England, 1999. You know, doing that thing.
That was around the world, man. Huh?
That was a 2-week situation with them, and obviously, man, we've done a lot of big music conferences all over the world, man, from the Dominican Republic to Bahamas.
That's major, man.
You know, all over the place, man. You know, and it was a way for the industry to get us all together, you know, 2 or 3 times a year to where we could talk business and have a little
get
fun.
Get everybody in the same room.
Let our head down. And a lot of times the artists would come out with us, you know, so we had a chance to interact with them, and everybody just showed their appreciation for each other. And then we got back to the marketplaces and got back to work.
Our thing.
So, you know, that's what it was all about. That's one particular situation, man, but we'll probably be doing part 10,
it's
man.
Countless. For me. I know, man. It's countless.
We'll be doing part 10 for me to really highlight all of them. But thankful for me, man. You know, I've been documenting a lot of things through pictures and stuff. You know, a lot of stuff popping up in the memories.
Beanie Man thing, and that was what 20-some years.
Exactly. That was 25 years ago.
That was crazy, man.
That was
crazy.
Yeah, that was 1998, man.
Yeah.
And that actually. That was his first song, "Who Am I," which basically
that
most people
that was the jump off
most
record,
people called it Sim Simmer.
Sim Sim. That's what I always thought.
Who's got the keys to my Beamer? And that's what I said in the caption. I was like, 25 years, you know, then passed, and I don't think Beanie even knew that I had the Beamer keys.
That's crazy.
You know, the whole time. And that particular day, man. I mean, if I would have known how that full day was going to turn out, man, I probably would have had the county commissioner declare that day Beanie Man Day.
Really?
Because, man, we pretty much shut the whole city down. If you remember Stan Rankin T, Stan Rankin T was over at UNLV, and he had, you know, used to do the reggae show that he used to do in the afternoons at KUNV. But then he also had a store over on Las Vegas Boulevard between Charleston and I want to say Wyoming, somewhere in there. It was called Caribbean Lifestyle. It was sort of like a clothing store, and you know, just a lifestyle store. You know, and in the back of his store, basically we just opened that whole situation up and did basically like a day festival. And it was all in honor of Beanie Man, you know, and I brought Beanie through and Stan's wife Margot, man, she cooked red snapper and, you know, had all of the cultural food and all that. Beanie felt like he was at home, dog. He didn't even want to leave because he was mad. He said, bro, he was like, look, man, this is the first time I done had a good meal since I've been on the road, man. We've been eating KFC and all this garbage. So for me to put that thing together and, you know, for basically the whole Caribbean community to come out, man, and for him, because, you know, obviously even before Beanie popped off to really blowing that song up on a crossover level, obviously he was already like James Brown of the Jamaican community. He was already that guy.
He sure was,
He was already that guy. So, you know, it wasn't no mystery to them, but he was starting to open up, you know, a situation to a whole new community now. Because
that's when he did the record with Janet. After that, he was getting that look.
All
he was getting that big
all
look.
of that, man. But that was the jump off there.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that I was part of that movement, man.
You always put your arms around the artists when they came to town. I remember we did the Lloyd Banks, Jadakiss, that Eminem.
Yeah.
I mean, that was on fire.
Well,
man.
I could almost say that
that
we can take the credit for really putting Eminem on the map,
Eminem,
man.
right? Yeah,
because again, that started with Snoop, because obviously I had the account with Interscope at the time, and believe it or not, if you remember Mordecai the Jeweler, his son actually had a birthday party, and he decided that he wanted to do it at Raw.
Okay.
He actually booked Snoop to come in. Basically, I think Snoop did maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, and got paid $75K, bro.
Golly.
Just to come in and do 3 or 4 tracks. But I told my man over at Eminem, I told Tim, I was like, yo, Tim, I said, man, look, I tell you a good way to get in. I know Snoop he loves his food, man. So if you want to get on, I tell you what, man, donate your services, man. I can plug you in to where you could cater his suite, and trade. I'll get you signage, within the club where you can post banners and do all this other stuff, man.
Yeah.
And he was right there in the club, did the suite, did all of that stuff. So every time Snoop came to town after that, bruh, he was an avid fan of smothered chicken and greens and all of that.
Yeah.
He had to have it. I remember we was actually on the radio over 98.5, and he tapped me on the shoulder. He was like, "Hey, cuz, can you holler at your man and get that 2-piece smothered chicken for me, man?" And before he got off the radio, they actually hand delivered it to him, man.
Before Uber Eats.
Oh yeah, before all that, man. So we were definitely trailblazers when it came down to all of that.
That's
brother.
live, man. And I remember the spot on Spring Mountain too, man. It was a lot of epic moments went down over there.
Oh
man.
yeah, man. And I felt like, hey, that was definitely an appreciation for you guys too, man. Particularly on the Saturdays, because hey, man, that was kind of like our day to get together.
We used to really go build on Saturdays.
Everybody is doing their thing throughout the weekend. Some of y'all came in on Tuesdays too, man. Tuesdays was a low key day, but Saturday was really like
Saturday
the
was
big
prime
day.
time. Yeah,
prime time. And most of the time, usually when a label could get an excuse to come to Vegas to kind of get like a little R&R on the weekend, but kind of take care of business at the same time, they would always set up scheduling and routing, particularly if they had accessibility to an artist. Of course, they'd be like, well, hey, Rory, we want to sponsor your lunch meeting. So, we bring the catering right in, man. So they would come to us, man, and we make it happen. It was love, man.
And it made sense because, like, all the DJs was coming there. So anything he was trying to promote, the DJs was like an extension of pushing the record and whatever. So it just...
Well, the thing is that they could see everybody that they need, all the key movers and shakers, they could see in one place.
In one place,
Break bread with them. You remember we used to hook up the PlayStation on the monitors, man. We was playing video games, had the turntables in there, we rocking.
Listening parties and reviewing records, and man, it was that was a great time.
We used to have a good time, man. Yes, sir.
What do you say about how records are being promoted nowadays? What do you feel like? Do you feel like an element is missing, or it's just where we are right now?
No, again, man, like I said, all the tools is there. It's really just based on how an individual utilizes the tools. Some person can see some vision in things that maybe other people don't see and take something to an entirely different level. And some people might just be comfortable with what they've been doing and may say, hey, if it ain't broke, why fix it? So
that's true.
That's kind of where we are getting back to this whole grassroots thing, because realistically, when social media came about, it wasn't broke.
It wasn't broke. Yes,
it wasn't
that's
broke.
True.
It wasn't broke.
It was working. It
was working. Well, it was the only thing that really made things work.
That's true. That's
but
true.
at the same time, it just got to a point to where labels found a way to cut some funding,
cut some costs,
cut some costs, and maybe somebody else lined their pockets a little deeper.
I'm sure they did.
But at the same time, over time, and people turning around doing the logistics and everything, man, trying to look at the numbers and crunch numbers and justifying how things are actually getting done versus you know, how it used to be, people were like, at some point we need to bring this back in some kind of way.
Bring it back, yeah.
And I'm thankful to Eryka that realistically, you know, for a long time, man, she's probably the first one to really come back and do it as big as it's being done. Because man, we running out here with billboards. We got the trucks,
the truck and all that.
We got the billboard trucks, man. We got the digital billboards.
It feels like an old school smash campaign. It really feels like
obviously
that,
we just showed you a commercial.
Yeah.
You know, so hey man, just really to be able to have that. So and now folks can see those commercials on their smartphone.
Yes, they can.
You know, I mean,
they got access.
How many people is really taking time to watch TV nowadays?
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
you get everything on that phone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
oh man,
you get everything on it.
Some I feel like the phone's so smart that it's done dumbed a lot of us down.
Right, it has. You know what made me realize that a while back is that nobody. You remember back in the day, and people say, "Oh, I know they number by heart."
Yeah.
Everybody's number's a name.
Right.
If you without your phone, you couldn't call nobody because everybody's number's a name.
Well, because you're not taking the time, or you're not really conveniencing yourself to even remember nowadays because you're relying on your phone.
Yes.
Now, what if that phone hit the ground and crack up in 10 pieces?
Yeah, and you somewhere and got to get somebody.
Oh man, that's like you losing your heart or your brain.
I think I know about 4 or 5 numbers by heart right now. That's like my mama,
well, you know,
my
your
wife,
your your brothers, your sisters, your kids.
Like major ones, but like I used to have a whole Rolodex in my head. But you're
all
right.
the time, brother.
It didn't make us lazy, man. It didn't make us lazy, man.
Yeah.
So real talk though, man. But you know, we can always chop it up, man. Once again, man, big look on the Eryka Badu thing. We got Eryka in the seat. If y'all looking, man, we took the time to bring get as close as we could, man.
Yeah, she's right here with us,
big look on that, man. So you're probably busy on that 16th. You'll be running, man.
We in the streets all the way up until showtime, man. From between now and showtime. And if you all haven't gotten your tickets up to this point, go to unfollowmetour.com, unfollowmetour.com, and or you can definitely follow me on Facebook, Rory McAlister. You can hit me on IG, Rory Mack LV. You know, hit DFOS. You know, we all still family, man. And you know, we connecting these dots, and you know, we just want to show Eryka a good time, and for us to just have a good time while we in that building, man, because you know she gonna turn it out.
I already know, man. She gonna show out, man.
Oh, man, she always does.
And, you know,
man.
like I follow her social media, and she gives you a glimpse of her stuff. You know what she does, so I know it's gonna be nothing short of phenomenal, man. So,
and you know, I've been running around to a few of these clubs, man. You know, folks are like, man, you think she might be able to come through? I said, man, if I can get Eryka to come to one of the clubs, 9 times out of 10, she probably gonna elbow y'all and want to do a turntable set.
Right. She probably will.
Yo,
she do her thing. She get down, man.
That girl is bananas.
She get down, man.
Yes,
so
sir.
That's a good look, man. Once again, man, DJ Rory Mack. Y'all can catch him tonight at the Ultimate House Party, man. Just a pioneer, a staple. If anything has moved through Vegas, industry-wise, he has had something to do with it. I touched it. I put his hands on it in one way or another. Godfather of the DJs to DJs, man, then blessed so many DJs in the game, and he's still doing his thing, man. So I just want to salute you, my brother, give you a flowers while you can still smell them. You know, like Kanye said, nobody gets the flowers when you can smell them. I want you to be able to smell them, my brother, because you've always been an inspiration,
and
man.
The reason why I'm here, man, is because I'm reciprocating them flowers right back to you, Dave, because you still out here in the trenches, man. You know, for you to basically connect the dots even with the new generation and you know, giving people a platform to speak their piece, man, and just let folks know that Vegas has a vibe.
Yeah,
man.
they got a vibe, man.
They got a vibe. We got culture, and hey, you know, we're here and we're prominent, man.
Keep doing this thing, man. So we're going to get out of here, man. The Streets of Vegas, episode 110 with my man, DJ Rory Mack. We're going to drop that commercial one more time as we get out of here. Shout out to Eryka Badu. Y'all check out the Unfollow Me tour coming June 16th. It's going to be major. It's going to be big. It's coming through the city. Shout out to Quan, Vegas Hype Media Network, and we out.
The summer concert experience of a lifetime.
My name is Eryka Badu.
With the Grammy Award-winning Eryka Badu. Eryka Badu like you've never seen her before. The music, the vibe of of Eryka Badu. With special guest Yasin Bey. The Unfollow Me tour with Eryka Badu. June 16th at Michelob Ultra Arena. Tickets on sale now at AXS.com.
You think it ain't real out here in these streets? It's real out here in these streets.
The